What's going on YouTube? So in a world where crossovers and SUVs are quickly replacing sedans, it's certainly very exciting to spend some time with a legit sports sedan. This of course is the Kia Stinger, and it's getting an extensive update for 2022 with even sleeker styling, interior upgrades, and increased performance. So with that all said, let's go ahead and see if this is an even better performance bargain. So the Stinger has always been a very strong model when it comes to styling and just an eye-catching design. So thankfully what Kia did was basically focus on refining the design slightly but not messing with it too much. So up here in the front we still have that signature tiger nose grille. This year we have the smoked chrome finish across all of the trim levels, and one thing you'll probably notice is we have the new Kia emblem. So it's now mounted up here on the top with that new design, which a lot of you guys prefer. Of course, you still have the aggressive lower elements all through here. And then as I come over here to our headlights, we now have two different headlight designs. So you have standard LED headlights across all the models. Your GT line and your GT1 are going to come with a new dash design and their LED reflector headlights. This GT2 has LED projector headlights, and this design has different daytime running lights that are more similar to what you had last year. Now, of course, no refresh would be complete without some new wheel designs, and Kia has some bold new geometric designs on board. So your GT line will come with an 18-inch alloy, and then your V6 models are going to come with these 19-inch alloys which have a lot of different spokes here. Very cool, like I said, geometric designs with a lot of contrast. Also adding to the contrast are these red brake calipers. So we have the 13.8-inch Brembo brakes with the V6 models, and I really like the contrast look with the wheels. Adding to the contrast are the fact that you have the smoked chrome mirrors standard on every model, and most of the features are also standard on every model. So heating, power folding, and blind spot monitoring are all included. However, if you want auto dimming, that will be GT2 exclusive.
Now, of course, the Stinger, one of its coolest things about it is that this is kind of like a hatchback design. So you're going to notice that here at the side, and as far as the length is concerned, it's 190 inches, which puts it right in between something like an Audi A5 and an A7. So this is a pretty long vehicle. Now, as far as the rear design though, this is where you're going to see some of the 2022 updates for the refresh, although I don't think it's quite as much as what they did in the front. They have changed a few of the elements. So we do have Stinger script right here in the middle, and then these taillights are going to be the big difference. They just have a different design for 2022, and they are going to be mostly LED. The brake light portion is LED on all of them. If you opt for a GT2 model, you will get the LED turn signal. However, the reverse light is still going to be incandescent. And then if we drop down, you're going to notice that we have a super aggressive rear diffuser, and it's going to hide inside the quad exhaust outlets, which they do now have the butterfly opening valves for 2022, so pay attention during the test drive for the sounds. Now, another big update for this refresh model is that they're now going to throw in all of the safety systems standard across the Stinger lineup, which previously they weren't available at all on the GT line. So now it's going to include forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, auto high beams, and lane keeping assist. Well guys, as you can tell, I'm a huge fan of the way the Stinger looks on the outside, but I know they've put a ton of luxury on the inside, so let's check that out before we take it out in a spin. And before we do that, I would truly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below.
For the refreshed 2022 Stinger, you do have the updated Kia key fob. You now have remote start integrated onto the fob, and as you can see, you have the updated logo on here as well. And walking up to the vehicle, as you can see, the mirrors do fold out on approach. And as far as getting inside, you're just going to press the black button to unlock. Alright, and taking a look inside of the interior here, You won't notice a huge number of changes for this refresh. However, this always had a very nice cabin, and there are some updates to different types of designs and textures, which I'll point out as we go through the video. Now we'll start out by talking about the interior color material options. You do have standard real leather seating, and then when you go up to this GT2, that's where you will get Napa leather, which is a very high quality type of leather, and that also comes with a brand new design here with these kind of tiles that run through it. Very cool look. And then as far as the different color options, you have black, beige, or this red. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is very nicely finished. We have leather covering pretty much the entire thing, and with the GT2 you get this more elaborate stitching design that runs through here. The top part is going to be soft touch. You have genuine aluminum trim running through here and real metal speaker grills. You have 2-person memory seating, and then your front 2 windows will be one-touch auto up and down. Now coming back to the seat adjustment itself, most of the models will come with a 12-way power adjusting seat, but this GT2 comes with a 16-way power adjusting seat, which includes a power bolster adjustment and a power thigh extension. And then, like I already mentioned, this is the genuine Napa leather with the beautiful tiling and really thick bolsters to hold you in place. Now checking out the cabin materials, they are mostly the same this year. So across our upper dash, this is going to be finished in a soft touch plastic with a double stitching detail. As we move down to the center portion, we have a leather material that runs all through here, again with a double stitching detail. And then as we get down here to our center console, the GT1 and GT2 trims, those are going to come standard with this aluminum finish here in the middle. Lower models will come with a piano black trim. And then you do have some piano black accents along the side. Everything in here does fit together very well. Now to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the standard button. Alright, so taking a look first at our gauge cluster, with the GT2 trim level, that's going to throw in the larger 7-inch multifunction display right there in the middle. The GT line and the GT1 are going to come with a 4.2-inch multifunction display. But regardless, you get the analog gauges there, which have a real nice and sporty look to them. In the middle there, you've got plenty of information. As you can see right now, we've got some performance gauges, but you also have all the typical stuff as well, like safety systems and different things like fuel economy. Now, in addition to that, with the GT2, you do have the blind view camera system, so when you signal to the right or the left, that will give you a live camera feed. And furthermore, we do have a head-up display as well up here at the top. Now, coming back to the steering wheel, you will have a standard flat bottom leather wrap steering wheel with your GT branding on board, as well as the new Kia logo. As far as the wheel itself, it is power adjusting on just this GT2. Previously it was the GT1 and the GT2, but now it's just the GT2. And then steering wheel heating is going to come on any model equipped with all-wheel drive. I should also point out that newly standard on every single Stinger, including the GT line, will be rain-sense wipers. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at interior storage, because that's always been a strong area for the Stinger. So open up our center console here. As you can see, very nicely sized, plenty of space. You have a little removable tray you can toss off to the side, and you got all this space with the felt lining down at the bottom. Gotta test it out with the coupons though to really know. As you can see, you can actually stick these in here mostly flat without even having to fold them in half, so this is really good for a sports sedan. Now up in front of that, we do have another bin there. Got your 2 cup holders. Slide back this really nice feeling aluminum panel here, and this will reveal just a little bit more storage, including this area right here, which is actually a wireless phone charging pad and newly included as standard on every model. Now pulling back here to the shifter, just like with the last model year, if you choose the top GT2, you will get the electronic shifter. The other models will come with the standard T shifter. So operation very simple, just pull back for drive. You can of course manually shift on every single model with the standard paddle shifters. This is a sports sedan after all. And then you push up in the opposite direction for reverse. Now when you go into reverse with the GT2, that's going to give you the 360-degree camera system with active trajectory. You have several different views you can switch between over there on the side, and both the mirrors do tilt down in reverse to help you see the parking lines better. Other models will of course come standard with a regular backup camera, and those will have rear parking sensors. Then for park, just press the P right there, and every single version will come with this electronic parking brake. Now next to that you have your drive mode controllers. You also have your auto brake hold. And then you have your controls for your heated and ventilated seats. Heated seats are standard on every single model. Ventilated seats are included on just this GT2. And then as far as the broader climate controls, they do remain the same this year. So it is a dual zone automatic setup. Easy to use. Most of your buttons are physically located here. However, you can tap the climate button and make some adjustments up here in the display if you prefer to do that. Then you also have physical buttons for many of your infotainment and audio adjustments. So on this fully loaded model, as you expect, we have the fully loaded sound system. So that's going to be a 720 watt, 15 speaker Harman Kardon premium sound system. It's also available as an option on the GT line, but not available on the GT1. And we'll go ahead and give it a sample now. Yeah, so as you'd expect, overall sound quality is very good. Really strong sounding sound system, and like I already mentioned, metal speaker grills, which automatically gets it a thumbs up for me. Okay, so let's take a look next at one of our big interior updates for this refresh, and that's that we have a brand new display with the brand new infotainment system. So this is a 10.25 inch display, as you can see, running the newest Kia software, and with much thinner bezels than before. So it's just definitely a lot more premium than the previous 7 and 8 inch displays that were offered on the Stinger. Obviously, as you can see, it is a touch screen. You do have built-in navigation included standard on all the models, and that's what this looks like right here. You also have split screen abilities since you have the widescreen, so you can pull up two different kinds of information side by side. Now, as far as Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are concerned, of course both are going to be standard, but in typical Kia fashion, since we have the 10-inch display, that does mean that it's the wired connection and not wireless. Now moving on up, we do have a frameless auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes for the GT2. And then up here at the very top, we have a panoramic-ish sunroof. As you can see, it's definitely larger than a standard size, but it's not really a full-size panoramic one. And this is going to be included as standard equipment on your GT1 and your GT2, and then it's available as an option on the GT line.
Alrighty, I'm in the Stinger's rear seat, and this has always been a really nice place to spend time, and for 2022 that's going to stay the same. Now, as far as your legroom figures, you're looking at 36 inches of rear legroom, 37 inches of rear headroom, which is larger than the Audi S5 Sportback if you're comparing it against that, and it's also feels quite a bit more spacious than the Genesis G70. Now, as far as behind rear seating position, I have I would say probably 5 to 6 inches of rear legroom, and my feet can slide up underneath of the seat. And I do also want to point out that these rear seats are kind of laid back and also hug you in as you go around those corners in the Stinger. Now, as far as the features are concerned, we do have vents, and those are going to be standard on all of the models, and you have kind of your own climate controls. I'm really not sure what this wheel does. I adjust the temperature, so maybe it's 3-zone, who knows. And then dropping down below that, we have a 12-volt power outlet, and then we also have a charging USB port. On this fully loaded GT2, we're also going to have 3-stage heated rear seats, and then if we fold down the central armrest, we do have cup holders inside. Now, walking up to the tailgate of the Stinger, since we do have the fully loaded GT2 model, you're noticing that we do have the smart opening hands-free power lift gate on this Stinger, so that's a really nice touch. Now, as far as the space itself is concerned, behind the second row seats, we're going to have 23.3 cubic feet of space. That's obviously one of the huge benefits of going for something like this, is that it is basically a sedan, although it has a lot more space than a typical sedan. We don't have the full measurements with the seats folded, but they do fold 60-40 split. Now, as far as how they finished it, we have a cargo cover up top. We have a nice carpeting along the floor, and if we lift up the floor, it looks like we do have a spare tire. Yes, we do have a spare tire, and then off to the side we do have some LED lighting. Now, over here on the passenger seat, we do have most of the adjustments that the driver has, although we are missing a few adjustments, but we still have the four-way lumbar. And then if we look inside the glove box here, it is going to be really, really nicely felt lined. We also have illumination inside. And as far as how these coupons fit in, they do fit in perfectly fine. There's a lot of books in here, which is kind of filling up a lot of the space, but it has a pretty decently sized glove box overall. And then up top, we have a sun visor with LED lighting, a mirror, and we can also detach and extend.
Just like that, we are up to 60 miles per hour. Really nice acceleration. Of course, this has always had a powerful engine, and for 2022, we gained 3 horsepower.
Yep.
So we still have the 3.3 liter twin turbo V6 engine. We now have 368 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque.
She pulls for sure,
yeah. It pulls hard.
Yeah, and that's good for a 0 to 60 of 4.7 seconds. So this certainly is a quick vehicle, to say the least, in the GT trim levels.
Absolutely.
And the bigger news, though, is got to be probably the GT line, because that no longer has that 2-liter engine, and instead has the 2.5-liter turbo that you see in a lot of Hyundai Kia products. That has 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. That's a very significant power boost for the base model, and that 0 to 60 is 5.2 seconds.
Right, so if you look at that, your delta between the full GT models here and your GT line is really not that much anymore, so that definitely makes the 4-cylinder a lot more appealing.
Yeah. But beyond performance, I know we'll be talking a lot about that throughout this test drive. Once we get on a country road, I do want to talk about just the luxury of it. You know, just cruising along here, going around 50-ish miles an hour. I mean, this is incredibly comfortable. This is a sports sedan, first and foremost, especially in these GT trim levels, but it has a lot of luxury to it as well. It has the dual character that can switch between. I'm very comfortable. The seats are great, and the ride quality is also great, and I will get a sound level reading going 55 so we can compare. And we're going to be sitting at 55.1 decibels. That's very, very good, on par with luxury vehicles.
All right, so now we can get into kind of the performance. I want to start with just the transmission. This is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Really nice performing transmission. It's good and quick as far as the shifts are concerned, so it definitely matches with the character of a sports sedan, but it is also very smooth when you're just driving around casually like you saw just a minute ago. Yeah, but this really, when you get it out onto a curvy road, this is where she really shines. And you can just tell, looking at me driving through here, just how much control you have. This is a genuine sports sedan, for sure. When you go around the corners, really tight, really buttoned down. You don't have much body roll at all. And the steering has a real hefty feel to it. You can really tell where the wheels are placed. Yeah, it just it feels right when you're behind the wheel. I've always been impressed by this Stinger, and for 2022, you have all the same strong characteristics maintained.
Yeah. Now, also a really new good thing that they added for the GT models is that you do have a variable exhaust setup. So that's another new feature that they added for this refresh model, and you can change the interior of the vehicle, its different sounds making into the cabin as well, and then also with your drive modes you can change the exterior exhaust.
So we just went into sport mode. So yeah, between the sport mode and also putting that on strong augmentation, wow, it sounds a lot different.
Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah.
Definitely gives it a deeper sound to it.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. It sounds very different from what it was at the beginning. And it doesn't actually sounds quite a bit different than the Genesis G70 we drove just a short time ago. Let's put this on off and see how much of it is like exterior and how much of it is interior.
Mostly exterior.
Yeah, mostly exterior, actually. Yeah, I'm definitely going to say that this sounds a bit better than the Genesis G70.
This thing is so quick.
It really is. Just a blast to drive. Yeah, and I just want to go ahead and say that as today's slam dunk is just the driving dynamics behind the wheel. I cannot emphasize it enough. This really does keep up with German rivals. It's not just a, knockoff, stylish thing that doesn't really compete. This really does compete with German vehicles on dynamics. You have all of the performance that those models offer, but of course you're always going to be at a much more affordable price tag.
Yeah. Now, as far as the airball is concerned, we would have liked to have seen just a few more updates for the Stinger for 2022. A few things like the gauges in particular, those kind of bother us. That should probably be the full digital setup that you see in something like the Sorento, for instance. It just, in a car that costs this much, it's very odd to have just a traditional gauge setup instead of the digital ones that we know they already have in the lineup. And speaking of that price, let's go ahead and talk about that. So I'm going to read off the price for rear drive. The GT line is starting at $36,090, GT1 is $43,690, and GT2 is $51,290. Now, this one, as equipped, has pretty much every single option you can get. We also have all-wheel drive. When we have the 1,045 destination, this one's coming in at $55,955.
But overall, if you guys have been following this channel for a while, you know that we've always been a big fan of this Stinger since the very beginning when it came out. And for 2022, we were very excited about the changes that they made. They didn't mess with the stuff that didn't need to be messed with, and that's the performance, the dynamics, which are just, they're excellent. The style of this is mostly the same because it looks fantastic. But they did upgrade things that we've thought needed to be upgraded. For instance, the display and the technology is much better than it was before. So overall, I find this to be just a really strong refresh because it corrects the things that needed to be corrected. Excuse me, needed to be corrected while not messing with the things that I wanted to be left alone.
Well guys, thanks for joining us on this in-depth review of the 2022 Kia Stinger GT2. Of course, this is a very beautiful vehicle, and if you made it this far, hopefully that means you enjoyed watching this or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions. So be sure to help us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. It really helps us out and it doesn't cost you a thing. And all it's going to do is give you notifications on our most recent content. So be sure to do that and also tap that notification bell as well. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.